What's up everybody, RetroWolf88 here, and back at the end of January I saw a trailer for a game called Away, Journey to the Unexpected, and that game really looked cool. It really grabbed my attention at the time when I saw it, and I decided to play it and review it. So today I'm going to take you on an unexpected journey through this game so that we can find out if the game is any good, if it's worth your money. You'll have to wait to the end of the review to find out. So I want you to grab some Cheez-Its, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into my review for Away, Journey to the Unexpected. Away, Journey to the Unexpected is a first-person action-adventure game with some roguelike elements to it that launched digitally on Nintendo Switch on February 7th, 2019 for $16.99. The game features a quirky story full of strange and interesting characters you will meet along the way in your short, roughly 3 to 5 hour adventure. This game contains cartoon-style graphics similar to what we saw in Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, but not quite as pretty. Is this game Cartoon Skyrim? Let's find out. Alright folks, it's story time. In Away, Journey to the Unexpected, you are a young boy living with his grandparents while your parents are off on a secret mission of which they have not yet returned. One day there is a loud sound that comes from the basement, and that sends you off on your journey to investigate where your parents are and what is going on in the world. Along the way you discover a strange substance that is scattered across the land and turning the inhabitants of this world into monsters and mutating them. Throughout the short story you slowly piece together what is happening as you explore and speak to NPCs. These story beats go into a small journal for your reference. The dialogue with the characters you meet is humorous, quirky, and sometimes even a little creative. I went from having genuine laughs to scratching my head wondering what the hell I was reading. The story is almost nonsensical, and don't expect any substance, plot twists, or deep messages here. I still found the simplistic story to be entertaining and charming, but not particularly exciting, and it is certainly not what kept me going to the end. Let's talk some graphics and performance. The game has a very colorful and vibrant art style that I like, but there are a few glaring issues I noticed. For one thing, pop-in is very bad in this game, especially in the desert section. Normally I do not notice pop-in, but I noticed it immediately when features of the land and structures were popping in 10 feet in front of me. Another issue I encountered with the visuals is that the brightness and contrast doesn't seem to be quite right sometimes. There were some parts of the game where objects were very hard to make out due to how dark they were in environments that were mostly in broad daylight. Another thing that I thought was odd is that all of the NPCs, characters, and enemies that you encounter are 2D objects in a 3D game. For example, when you try to circle around them, their 2D image rotates with you so that they are always facing you and you are always facing them. To me, this feels like they did not want to create and animate more 3D models, or maybe they were just going for a unique style. Other than that, the character and enemy models are very entertaining and unique. They are vibrant with fun details, and they were my second favorite thing about this game from a visual standpoint. My favorite thing visually about this game is that each character you can play as on your team has their own very unique way to see the world. So when you switch to a different character, it adds filters and effects to the visual style that change the graphics in a way that is thematic to that character, and some of them are very cool. For example, the old wizard's glasses are broken, so when you switch to him, you can see the cracks in the glasses obscuring your vision. The crazy tree sees the world in an almost hand-drawn rustic wooden filter, I assume because he has wooden eyes. These are just a few of the many cool changes to the visuals you encounter when you find a new character, and I really love this aspect of the game. There are 4 different outdoor hub-like environments in this game: a forest, a desert, a snowy, icy land, and a tropical island, as well as a few indoor environments such as your house, caves, a factory, and an alien spaceship. None of these environments are drop-dead gorgeous, and they are not near as detailed and nice to look at as the character and enemy models, and this sadly makes the environments quite forgettable. As far as performance goes, the load times were a bit long and I encountered some slight frame rate dips from time to time, and of course I already mentioned the pop-in earlier. All in all, the game looks and runs better while playing it in handheld mode as opposed to playing it on the TV. This is not a bad looking game, it's just a game that should have been optimized a bit more in the visual and performance department. Let's move on to music and sound. The music is okay, but it is not anything that blew me away or was memorable, but I suppose it served the game throughout well enough. Each indoor and outdoor environment has its own background music, although some outdoor environments do not have any music, which is fine in some cases. I particularly enjoyed the boss battle music. It was catchy, fast, and had some good melodies. Here, have a listen. It really reminded me of music from Monster Boy, which is a compliment, but that was the only tune that really stuck out to me. The sound design, in a way, is actually pretty good. Indoor and outdoor environments contain a multitude of ambient sounds that really help to suck you into the experience a bit more. For example, in the forest area, you will hear birds singing and chirping, and the sound of crashing waterfalls. In the Lava Works factory dungeon, you will hear an alarm blaring, saw blades spinning, and fans and machinery whirring. All this helps to make up for the mostly lackluster background music. All in all, the music and sound were good enough, but by no means mind-blowing. And that brings us to what is, in my opinion, the most important aspect of a video game: the gameplay. As stated previously, this is a first-person, somewhat roguelike adventure split into 4 medium-sized hub-like outdoor areas with some indoor areas and a few dungeons sprinkled throughout. Like many roguelikes, when you die, you get experience that slowly unlocks new things within the game. It only took me a few hours to unlock everything, and most of the unlocks were just not very rewarding. Also, combat as the boy is pretty dull. You have a stick as a melee weapon, and you can acquire fireworks as a projectile explosive. As you progress, you will unlock a charge attack, which I found useless, and a shield that can block 3 hits in a row before you have to let it recharge. I found that very useful. You start the game with 3 hearts, and you'll gain more as you progress through the adventure. I found combat as the boy to be very finicky, repetitive, and just not very enjoyable. One thing that I really did not like is that when you approach an enemy to hit them, if you get too close, it results in pretty much an automatic hit by the enemy. You get within what you feel like is the right range for the stick and you get hit. You have to actually swing the stick well in advance of the enemy to hit them without getting hit in return, and it just feels off, resulting in a rhythm that feels quite wonky. The controls are mostly fine, except aiming is difficult and the run button is in an awful place. You have to hold down the Y button to run. I want you to think about this for a moment. This is a first-person game where both sticks are required to move effectively. So in order to run, you have to let your thumb off the right stick to hold the run button. This was a very poor design decision, and the controls cannot be changed at all, so you're stuck with it. Each of the 4 hub areas contains some randomized elements, such as golden triangles, which is the currency of the game, treasure chests, and the most important item of all, the friendship cube. Each area contains a shop and around 2 NPCs that you can recruit if you have a friendship cube. You can hold 3 friendship cubes, and you can find 1 for free in each area, as well as purchase 1 from the shop in each area. You can recruit up to 3 friends on your journey. The first time you meet these characters, you have to work through a sort of dialogue puzzle. Say the wrong thing and they will not join you, and you will have to try again in the next run. Say the right thing and they will join you, and each subsequent run you can automatically recruit them as long as you have a friendship cube. This is where the combat gets pretty fun and interesting. Each character you recruit can be swapped to at any time, and they have 2 energy bars. One represents their life and the other represents how often you can use their abilities. If either of these bars run out, they are exhausted and you cannot use them anymore for the rest of the run. I found 8 characters to recruit, and each have their own unique abilities. The old wizard shoots fireballs with his wand. The robot bounty hunter has a golden gun that will one-shot an enemy. Do you get the reference? There's a bat that spits out hearts to heal you, an ice cream bar that can freeze enemies, so on and so forth. The unfortunate thing is that some of these characters are nearly useless, while some are incredibly overpowered. Once you figure this out, the game becomes stupid easy and lacks proper balance. The character recruitment mechanic is an interesting idea, but ultimately it was not fully realized. The goal of each hub area is to find 3 switches that unlock the dungeon, reach the end of the dungeon, and defeat the boss. The boss battles are nothing exciting, I'm afraid. I literally beat the first boss by circle strafing around him and swinging my sword the entire time. And then one boss I beat by spamming him with fireworks. Just not fun. This is also a very short game, clocking in under 5 hours for me, which was disappointing because I really wanted it to last longer so that it could expand upon the mechanics and ideas that really had potential. Most of my time in the beginning of the game was spent wandering around aimlessly trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do, because the game does not give you any good sense of direction. Some games can pull this off through intelligent game design, but this is just not one of them. Also, be aware that there is no option to save your game, and there does not seem to be an autosave mid-run. I unfortunately found this out the hard way. I made it to the second area of the game and turned it off thinking it saved. Nope. When I turned it back on, I was back at my house in the start portion of the game. As you recruit friends, you get stars which unlock various doors in your house and outside of your house. Each door contains a secret of some kind, but most are just not exciting. The most useful is the door that unlocks a sort of fast travel where you can skip right to the second area, and eventually you unlock the ability to skip right to the final dungeon in the second area without having to hunt down the 3 switches again. This helped to speed the progression along a bit, which was nice. Overall, the gameplay had a few promising ideas, but none of it ever reached its full potential, which was disappointing. Let's move on to my conclusion. By now you probably think I hate this game, which I assure you is not the case. I simply wanted to be as critical as I can, but for me, none of these issues really bothered me outside of the run button being the Y button. I can overlook all the other issues for the most part, and I actually did enjoy my short time with the game. I cannot, however, recommend it for its current price. If it drops down to $10 or less, I think it is a good little filler game in between better titles if you like this sort of game. This is not a bad game, it's just an okay game. I feel like if they ever make a sequel, they could make a really good game if they really work at it. Ultimately, Away Journey to the Unexpected will be a forgettable journey that I will probably never revisit, but I did enjoy the quirky story, characters, and the interesting recruitment mechanic. Wow, okay. If you made it to the end of this video, I want to personally thank you because you've watched the very first review on the channel. There's going to be many more reviews because I really had a blast reviewing this game, and I really hope that you found my review informative and enjoyable. If you did enjoy my review, please be sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comments down below what you thought about my review and if you're going to pick this game up or not based on my review. And again, grab you some Cheez-Its and subscribe because we're going to be doing more reviews like this. I think the next game I'm going to review is City of Brass on the Nintendo Switch. Don't know for sure yet, but that's what I'm leaning towards. Until next time, I will see you all in the next video. What's up everybody, RetroWolf88 here, in our February Switch up...